and welcome to Gazette discussion for 20th July 2021. My name is Harsh Singh, and this discussion will contain many beautiful and interesting articles through this Gazette. The first video is about the featured news, which is on the WTO deal on fishery subsidies. Here we will discuss what is the contention of the developed countries, what is the contention of developing countries like India, and how are we going to synchronize the stakeholdership of all these countries. The second discussion will contain all the rest of the articles, which are 1. This day in history, belonging to the day we landed on moon for the first time. New snapshots. 2 important update articles we have for you are 1 on dairy investment accelerator and 2 on moon wobbling, which has caused more of tides around the world. Terms and concept. 2 important terms and concept for you today. 1 is Kadambini Ganguly. This personality, Dr. Kadambini Ganguly, was born 160 years back, and there's an update for you here. The second one is NB driver, neighborhood driver. We will come to know what this NB driver is about. Editorials of the day. 2 editorials that we have for you today are 1 that is on surveillance reforms in context of the new surveillance regime of the government. And the second one is on oil prices and a mechanism to ensure that these sudden shocks are not taken by the Indian economy, some reforms suggested here. And the case study of the day is on a beautiful article. The case study of the day is on Sahyog, a beautiful organization which is in Gujarat, and it is ensuring that it provides home to most of the people who are deserted around the country. Let us start the discussion. This day in history is dedicated to Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin. This is the day, 20th July 1969, when they landed on moon. The site that they landed on was later called as Tranquility Base. This day in history. New snapshot. The first snapshot is on Dairy Investment Accelerator. What is this? Now, government has ensured that it promotes and facilitates investment in the dairy sector. And this is how it is going to do this, by Dairy Investment Accelerator, this institution. Now, just a few days back, we studied that the government has attempted to ensure that only 3 umbrella schemes be provided for the cattle sector. First was regarding the development of these organisms and the whole schemes. The second one was their health issues, right, and disease. And the third one on infrastructure for dairy structure, right? And through this institutional development, providing only 3 umbrella schemes in which all the schemes will be entailed, this is how government ensures that more investment is provided in these particular 3 investment schemes, right? So the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy, right, it has a view to provide this focused investment, right, through this Dairy Investment Accelerator. So remember this technical word, Dairy Investment Accelerator. This institution is going to ensure various cross-functional things. So we will understand how it is going to operate, right? Now, firstly, there are a lot of people who want to invest, but they don't know how to invest in a particular sector. So this accelerator will ensure that it links these private or the important big bodies who have got finances, money to the dairy sector, right? For example, Dairy Development Board, for example, the dairy cooperatives, right? Individual big farmers, right, who are into dairy. So this is how it is going to link them, right? It is also going to ensure that it gives inputs of what the sector is like, how it is going to proceed, what is the evaluation, what are the opportunities, right? Simple queries relating to the dairy sector. So it will try to facilitate end-to-end the mechanism of how investment in this sector is to be done, right? So it will link them to the strategic partners, right? It will provide them on the ground assistance. So the idea is to increase the participation of private sector and financiers in this particular sector, animal husbandry, right? Now, for the same purpose, there is an Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund which has been created, right? So this is how the whole mechanism is going to help the dairy sector, right? Okay, so the idea is to ensure that the dairy processing industry, value addition industry to the dairy products gets a revamp and addition, right? So this is the main agenda. For example, infrastructure related to dairy, right? Meat processing, animal feed plant. Just a few days back, we discussed that animal feed, which are seaweed, right? So if we give the animals seaweed, the amount of the methane that they release, right, gets reduced. So animal feed plant are also required. So this kind of infrastructure is required in the country, and this is where this kind of investment is going to support, right? So they will also ensure, the government is also trying to give them certain kind of benefits, advances, benefits, interest subvention, right? So interest will be subsidized and it will be cut down, right, in case the repayment is done within specific years. So this is interest subvention. Then moratorium on payment. That means the government will ensure that the payment, even if not done for a specific time, there is no interest on that payment, right? Then if repayment is not done in a specific time, even then the finance does not fall in the category of NPAs. So this is one thing government is going to ensure. Then it will ensure that there will be credit guarantee. That means if I have taken certain loan from a financer, this is a financer, and I am a dairy person, I have taken loan, right? So credit guarantee ensures that in case I default, there is a third party which is going to protect me, right? So these are the kind of benefits government is also giving to ensure that financiers do not feel trapped, right? So certain kind of benefits are given to financiers. So you must remember these kind of schemes, right? Because this is what the technical words will provide you more marks, right? So this is what is required in this particular kind of question and answer, right? And why is it important? Now, India is the largest milk producer in the world, and therefore India has got potential to even grow further, right? Presently contributing to around 25%, one-fourth of world capacity of milk production. Now, this sector also contributes immensely to the economy, right? 5% of the economy is provided through this particular dairy sector, right? Now, we have certain dairy products in the market, but we can further increase these products. For example, simple products like cheese, right? Milk products, right? We have butter, we have a lot of desi products, like for example, ghee. We have a lot of products in confectionaries which are made from dairy products. So all the processing can be done through this particular sector, right? So what we talk of is value addition, right? So this kind of infrastructure, this kind of investment will regain a lot of rigor in the dairy economy, right? It will make Indian economy in dairy sector more lucrative, and it will tap a lot of opportunities for us. So this is what is the government trying to do through the Dairy Investment Accelerator, right? So this is snapshot one. The second snapshot is on moon, how its wobble is affecting the rising tides, right? So before anything, we should understand what is this tide about, right? So let us look at this image. Now, in this image, we clearly see that this is sun, and this is earth, and in between them is the moon, right? So there are 4 phases of moon in which it passes in the 28-day cycle. The first part is the time when it is a new moon, when moon is not visible to us. It is called as new moon. So moon is directly in between earth and sun. So the face of the moon which is visible is the one opposite to earth, so we cannot see moon at this time. This is called as new moon. Sun, moon, earth are in the same line. And in fact, the gravity of sun and moon are such that they can actually pull a lot of water in their direction. So this is the one which causes tides. This is called as spring tide. Now, when moon comes to the second phase, where we see moon is almost right angle to sun, and they are both pulling water of the earth, right? So this is called as a neap tide. This is the time when less amount of tides are there, right? Tide is there, but they are pulling in the opposite direction, sun and moon both. So therefore, this is called as neap tide. The third phase is when moon is just opposite to sun, right? And still pulling the water in opposite direction. So this is another spring tide. And the fourth is the neap tide, where again, the second phase is repeated, but in opposite direction. Now, getting back to the article in focus. The article says that moon's wobble, a kind of wobble, is going to increase the tides. So one is the wobble, and the second one is the climate change. What is climate change doing? It is increasing the amount of water present in the oceans. So because of the increasing water connection, and because of the kind of wobble moon is having. What is wobble? Wobble is the motion of a top, a spinning top, lettu. So when the top moves, and if it is moving on this axis only rotates a little, right? So sometimes it is like this, and sometimes it is like this, right? So the whole rotation here also revolves, right? This particular axis itself keeps moving. So at times, when this axis comes near to the earth, This will cause more pull. And when this axis goes a little farther from the Earth, it will cause less pull, right? So the scientists have said that in 1930s, in 2030s, there'll be the attraction will be such that it will lead to more pulling of the water. So this is what the article is about. It says that moon gravitational pull and severe flooding, they will be the impact of moon's gravitational pull on severe flooding, also because of increased climate change, right? So this is what they are mentioning in this particular article. This is around 20-year period of moon wobble when the whole wobble completes a complete motion, right? So this 2030s will be the time when the wobble will be such that there will be more attraction between Earth and the moon, right? So this is what the article mentions, right? Now, this is where I want to share ebb and flow. What is ebb and flow? Flow is the time when high tide is happening and the water is entering the area, right? For example, the coastal area. And ebb is the time when water is receding, it is going back, right? So this is what is about the tide. Image of the day, very popular, Danish Siddiqui. He was an Indian journalist who passed away, who died in the clashes between Afghan security forces and Taliban fighters, right? He was awarded Pulitzer Prize for his important work in the field of photography journalism, right? This is an American award. Now, we will not look into the politics of this news. We will understand certain nuances. This is how we will deal in UPSC kind of articles. So this is where we will try to understand what is the difference between Afghan security forces and Taliban, right? And this is how a UPSC aspirant must look at this particular news, right? So this is how developmental we will become in due time, right? So we will cover these kind of articles in featured news or in certain snapshots, especially relevant to India. Terms and concept. The first term and concept is about Kadimni Ganguly. Who was she? Dr. Kadimni Ganguly. She was born 160 years back, an important personality for women empowerment in India. She also went to United Kingdom to study medicine, and she studied 3 additional doctorate certifications, right? She was very popular, and she also was an important advocate to women's rights, right? So this is about Kadimni Ganguly. Neighborhood driver is the second term and concept for today. What does it do? Now, NB driver is an artificial intelligence-based mathematical tool. What it ensures to do is that it tries to analyze all the cells in the body, and it sees which are the cells which are actually trying to replicate. That means which are trying to form more cells causing cancer. So it will try to differentiate those particular cells which are cancer causing from non-cancer causing cells. And this is how this technology is going to help us to target drug delivery at specific places, right? So this is how artificial intelligence is being used to target drug delivery as well, right? Now, the first editorial for today is on surveillance, right? Now we have seen the Pegasus fiasco all around the world, and especially in India as well, right? The government is saying that it is not participant in this kind of surveillance system. However, this article talks of the increased surveillance of the governments around the world and also gives certain important cautions and reforms, right? It says that in India, Telegraph Act and IT Act are the 2 important tools through which surveillance is carried out, right? IT Act for the internet-based surveillance and Telegraph Act for telephone calls. However, there is no mechanism to ensure that the government hacks on telephones, right? This is illegal as per the IT Act itself. And therefore, certain acts of the government itself are illegal, right? This is what the Pegasus report also pointed out when it said that around 300 verified telephone numbers were hacked into, and especially for journalists, Supreme Court judges of the High Court, and important politicians, members of the parliaments, even the ministers of the government. So there was an increased security concern in this regard, right? The article says that this kind of interception and monitoring is not regulated. It is an impingement on the fundamental rights of the individuals, especially in a country which is ranked 142 out of 180. 142 out of 180 in the Press Freedom Index. India being a democracy, India should not be ranked this low in press freedom, right? But when India is ranked this low, these are the factors which are more responsible, right? Now, people cannot express themselves, journalists cannot express their own opinion, and criticizing the government results in increased surveillance activities, right? Also, where is the separation of power when the executive only knows who it is trying to survey and who it is trying to understand more about, right? So there is no separation of power. There is no role of judiciary. In fact, a lot of mechanism is never pass through judiciary. A person cannot appeal to the court of law about why they are being surveyed and what is the issue behind all this surveillance, right? So there is no judicial oversight. There is no parliamentary oversight on these kind of issues, right? So now this is where the executive also gets the power to influence a particular individual and institution when they do kind of all the kind of surveillance activities, impingement of the privacy of the individual. So this is how they start to influence that individual, right? They kind of probably blackmail that person. They also might give them particular kind of threats. So this is not very good, as we see in the press freedom index also, how India is rated, not very good, right? So the idea is to have procedural safeguards, right, under some particular acts, and there must be reduction in surveillance. This is what the article points towards. The second editorial for today is on oil prices and about Indian fiscal federalism, right? The article says that there are times when oil prices internationally go up, and there are times when the oil prices go down as well. But when the prices go down, India does not reduce the prices, right? Now, when the prices went down during Corona times, India increased the taxation on petroleum products to ensure that the amount of tax it got reduced at other places, they may recapture through petrol and petroleum taxes, right? So this is how India attempted to raise its taxes. It also raised the cost of petrol products in India during Corona times, okay? But when the prices of petroleum products rose, India should have reduced the taxation. India did not do that. Now, it says that the state government is also responsible on this somehow. Why? Because state government actually taxes these kind of entities, and that is why we see different level of taxation for petroleum product in different states. So the center and states both tax, and this is creating some kind of issue in taxation, especially for petroleum products. It says that if petroleum products are also taxed under GST, there'll be a lot of relaxation for the consumers of petroleum products. It also says that there is a competitor for petroleum products, shale gas. Now, if shale gas products are cheaper, people will start using them. And therefore, there is a time now to rationalize the taxation regime in petroleum prices, right? So this kind of oil shocks to the economy will be reduced. This is what the article speaks of. Case study of the day. This is an important case study which talks about the dignity of individuals, which talks about respect of individuals, right? So an organization called as Sahyog Kusht Yagya Trust, it is based in Gujarat. What is it doing? It is ensuring that home be provided to those people who are leprosy affected, who are destitute, mentally handicapped, and who are untouchables, right? So thousands of people are living this in this organization, and they have got home where love, mutual respect is provided to each other, and they participate in continuing their livelihood, right? They live here without any prejudices. So this is what is required in the whole country. Imagine this kind of organization, Sahyog, running in every city, and then every community, and then every home, and India will actually foster, because actual development of the country is the development of all humans. And if we are ensuring that inclusive development is there, this is what is required in the country. So Sahyog is the actual requirement, where empathy to each individual is provided, right? It also reduces the burden of disease. For example, people with mental illness, right? People with leprosy kind of diseases, they receive aid in these organizations. So this article can be used at multiple places, in ethics, in governance case studies, in social development, etc. Right? So do remember this organization, Sahyog Trust, which is running in Gujarat, this kind of home for the people who are unhomed at all the places. And this is what you will be into as you get into the service. All that difference will be that you will not be a private organization, you will be working with the power and the finances and the head of the government. Thanks for watching.